Well, we're here again at Content Marketing World 2016, and I'm here with Mark Masters, who this is your first time over here, right?
It certainly is.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got started in marketing and what makes you tick.
Okay, here we go. Very condensed, short route. Everything started from a book called an awful place to start, but there was a book by a chap called Chet Holmes, and he wrote called The Ultimate Sales Machine, I think it was 2008.
Yeah.
There's a thing there that was talking about education marketing. Yeah. So what I started to do was, how could I apply that to my site, clients? But then it was a thing that was education marketing. Very quickly, I had a client who went bust. I was owing a hell of a lot of money. But at the time, their growth got to a point because it wasn't a place where it wasn't sustainable. We were creating content that was videos, or for instance, things such as they were doing pitches for clients where everything was totally bespoke. They were telling us we were creating a story that wasn't sustainable. Anyhow, they were really bad times, 2011, 2012.
Too early. Yeah.
So what we started to do was then to take this effort by working a lot more collaboratively and a lot more in touch with our customers. So from my side as well, looks what's going on in the marketing arena. You find a place to attach yourself to. So for me, it's been a process of 3 years to kind of get to where we are now, or me being here at Content Marketing World this week.
Awesome. So what is the podcast that you run?
So the podcast is, here we go. I like this. I get a plug. So it's called Marketing Homebrew. So every Friday morning, on iTunes and Stitcher and everywhere else. So that's been going for nearly 2 years now.
And one of our helpers told us that you have an interesting format. How do you start the show?
Oh, here we go. So I start it, and I stumbled upon it by singing.
Nice.
So I'm not going to do it now because there's a load of people walking by.
That's your show. It's a little harder when there's a true audience, right?
So it starts So I will pick, and this is the truth. I will not know what I'm going to sing until 30 seconds before.
Wow.
You see? It's one of those moments.
Yeah.
What comes in your head. So there's nothing planned. However, it's stuck, and I'd like to know how that managed to get back to you, how my interesting format of how it starts. It's one of these things that we have to kind of, if you've captured someone's attention for 15 seconds, you've got them for another 15 seconds.
Yep.
That's the reason I do it. The serious side.
Yeah,
really.
and well, I mean, it's like if you listen to P&R, Robert changed it recently, right? He has this introduction story, and now you're hooked to it.
Correct. That's an interesting thing you mentioned there, because there has to be something that's compelling that keeps us, rather than some bland thing at the start that says, on today's show, we're going to look at that in this monotone way.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's what this whole practice of content marketing about, is this role where we have a responsibility to entertain others.
Yeah.
But when I say entertain, I mean seriously entertain.
Yeah.
If I can lord it up and I can sing and make myself look a bit of an idiot, but I still have to back it up with the stuff that I believe in and my take on the way that the world is. It's all a confidence thing that's happened over the years, because then when people say, "Oh, I hear you sing," okay. Yeah, it's all very silly, but it kind of works.
It comes out, I mean, in audio, to get charisma out. Because I could stand on stage and I can speak and I can wave my hands and I can capture the room. But whenever I come on audio, I have to have something that makes them want to sit in and listen. And when you listen to those radio show hosts that are doing it well, they always have something, right? Yeah. Howard Stern, there's a reason people listen to him. And it's not because of the stuff that he talks about on a daily basis. It's the way he talks about it and the way he presents the information.
But it's interesting. It's like your side as well. You know, we're put in these places that we've never really been used to. Mm-hmm. When you do your podcast and you talk, it's the simple things like when we talk and we smile and all these things that we've never, in our backgrounds. I'm very much from the agency world. I am from a traditional advertising agency world. A few years ago, you would have never have thought this idea of presenting, even what we're doing now, talking face to face, at least, okay, well, I talk and wave my hands about and everything else, but you kind of find a rhythm to the way that you do things. And that's a really interesting thing of where we are today, is that, you have this discipline that we're all practicing, but at the same time, that's how we become more engaging, and this connection and people coming back for the stuff that who we are as people and connect. And if I raise my voice or if we're kind of saying stuff and we're smiling, you want that to reflect on whoever's listening to it, don't we?
Exactly. And then, there's so many different forms of content that can come out of it, taking your audio and converting it to text and being able to pull these different snippets out. There's a universe of possibilities. Yeah. And I love that you're embracing a medium that people are still considering new. That most marketers don't listen to podcasts, right?
We don't. But it's slightly different in the UK as well. Look at what, even myself looking at what I listen to, the majority is US-based podcasts. Like you talk about PNR, and we listen to, the host of other podcasts that are out there has very much a US slant to it. So where we are in the UK, it is very much this open field at the moment. Mm-hmm. So the idea was the podcast started in January 2015, and we're still doing it. Again, this whole mentality of commitment, persistence, all these things that tick these boxes that we're supposed to be practicing.
Yeah.
And again, this whole thing of practicing what we preach. But we've never had this ability that we have now to put ourselves in front of other people, and which is why I believe that when we look at content from the UK, it's still very much focused on the written word, rather than these different places that we can position ourselves and present ourselves, so people make an association. And I'm very much into this, this very tangible element. I'm very much into looking in the whites of somebody's eyes.
Yeah.
And, it comes back to the old school principles as well of this is how we get on with people, and, the stuff we always hear about working with people we know, trust and like.
Yeah.
We have to move ourselves sometimes beyond the blog.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not just journalism. There's, the embracing of video. Like we've embraced video for this podcast. And you can see the equipment's a little bit more complicated than just these two mics sitting in a recorder. But it's the next evolution. It's where people are going to go. And the great thing about it is I have an audio feed that I can release as an audio podcast. And I can get the transcripts and I can put them on the closed captioning of the video. And then I can also put them into a blog post.
What about you, though? Do you find does that become easy? Because when you say that to someone else, we're saying, right, I have a transcript here, I have an audio, I have a video. I mean, look at the setup here. It's all... Yeah. But does it become easier for you?
To create it?
Yeah, is it
absolutely.
Because you've created your own little rhythm, how it all works?
Yeah, absolutely. And as my team grows and as I can start to find the different environments and say, I'm 100% sold on the fact that we need to be cross-functional marketers.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to get into Photoshop and get messy. And we need to be able to get into Audition and get messy. And we need to be able to get into Premiere Pro and get messy, because the budgets are getting bigger, but the spend is starting to come into the software side. And what's left over for content creation is getting a little smaller.
Yeah.
And so we can't just go hire an agency every time we need a video for $10,000. We have to build our own.
Yeah, you see, and this is interesting as well, because this is where marketing is going. And I'm seeing this with clients and people I work with on marketing departments, and those marketing departments and people have a mindset that has been set, very much campaign-based, very much kind of account direction, the way that it worked. It's like what you're talking about here, and how we utilize Photoshop and how we're using things like Canva, stuff that we never would have. It's like the role of the marketeer has become this hybrid of so much. It's like from your side, understanding how a podcast works, how to work an audio, how to work the visual side, and all these little elements that are coming together is how this whole discipline, not just content marketing, but businesses as well, is becoming these master. I don't like the word generalists, but I never knew my mindset would be in this world of SEO, of social, of understand, even down to we talk graphics, of presentation. And how we project a voice.
Yeah.
The world is changing, and I know we have these spaces that we're all part of as a fraction of the cost it was 5 or so years ago, but that's the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like what you're doing now and snapping up this, where we're sitting and talking now. There's such an opportunity to put ourselves in front of others that think, I enjoyed that.
Today, real time is the only time that counts. To stay relevant, you have to stay ahead. Your customers want the right information, right now, wherever they are. So how do you meet the demands of today's customers? By marketing in context. context accounts for a customer's interaction with your brand. So each touch builds on the next, creating more meaningful experiences for your customers. At Sitecore, we call this context marketing. To do it well, you need marketing technology that has three things: contextual intelligence, content management, and omni-channel automation. Contextual intelligence gives you the information you need about your consumers, so the content you manage is more relevant and is automatically delivered wherever your customers are. The Sitecore Experience platform was built for context marketing, so you can create a more personalized customer experience. Demand more from your marketing technology. Demand more from marketing. Own the experience. Sitecore.
I think people need to see the examples.
Yeah.
So when you look at the podcast, I went on Amazon and bought the table. I broke out the hardware and I bought all the pieces, screwed everything down. I tried all the different pieces of equipment to see what works. I bought all the cameras, and it was all just digging in. Like you said, it's not a generalist. I think it's more like, how many flavors of a unicorn can you be, right? It's what else can you figure out? What are your majors and minors, and how are you continuing to learn?
Because you picked up on an important point here. Is this ability to do stuff and to get your head around, because we still see, that's the frustrating thing when we look and we see posts and whatever on our Twitter feeds and LinkedIn and everything else, that will be, should you be doing podcasts or should you be doing video?
Yeah.
You look at whoever has produced the piece, and they're not doing it. Mm-hmm. It's exactly that. This whole idea of doing. It's like this thing of storyteller. It's not storytelling. Let's look at this idea of story doing. If we're saying this way to behave and the way we should be doing stuff, well, let's put our money where our mouths are. At least we can then say, look, if it failed and it didn't work, at least we kind of can understand why it didn't work, or we said, look, we gave it a go, rather than taking so much of a risk. Mm-hmm. It's when we do the podcast our side. When it started, it was, we spent a couple of $100. See, I didn't say pounds. I'm acclimatized into the US space. So we spent a couple of $100 on microphones. Yeah. So the risk wasn't huge. Yeah. So if it would have failed, listen, I can see with your setup, it's working very well, my friend. But it's you create something that if it goes wrong, if it goes wrong, we don't go down on a sinking ship that's going to hit us massively in our pockets. It's pride. It's stuff that whatever that we have inside ourselves that didn't work, rather than thinking that we've kind of hung ourselves out to dry.
Absolutely, and when you talk to people and they consider marketing work and not like something they enjoy or their life, right? Then you talk to them and it's like, they figured out gardening, and like they can tell you everything about the right time of year for the right seeds. It's like, you've got a spark in you that you can apply to your marketing. It's just, you need to share with people who actually love that stuff. So when you do try podcasting and you find that this mic doesn't work and you fail, there's somebody in your ecosystem that wants to know that. And so now you got another piece of content to go share. And even if it's not your audience, it's making you learn and grow and be a part of that community.
Because this is the other thing, this whole idea of enjoyment. And I know it's like where we are today, that there isn't an altruistic way around this by, we do this because we love it, which we do. But there's the other side, how it all represents to sales and business. It's still business at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? Marketing has not changed. And the marketing has never changed. Things are just packaged up slightly differently. But, we still create products and services that people like and buy and tell somebody else. But this thing, when you talk about this, this analogy of gardening and stuff like that, but that stems down to the kind of spark and fire in your belly and thing that you enjoy that becomes easier to share with other people. It's like the setup that I see here. There's this kind of kinship between our sides. Yeah. Okay, we're in this place today where you're with loads of other people. You do a podcast, I do a podcast. You kind of genuinely find it interesting, and that kind of helps you create this roadmap for how you present yourself that other people connect and engage and build this ongoing rapport with.
Exactly. And if you're in B2B marketing, let's say you're selling, bolts to people and that's your company. Well, you can find, it might not be so compelling to where you find entertainment there, but you can find entertainment in the people who are doing the same thing you're doing. And you can really go out and continue to learn and hone in your craft and, like you said, just love it, right? And it becomes part of who you are. And events like this, and this is your first time here,
certainly is.
But they are amazing ways to come in and to see other people present their content and learn and share, and you get to take it home. What do you see is different about the European marketing community versus the States being here for a couple of days?
Yeah, that's
now?
an interesting one. I don't know. I suppose if you're here at the moment, you're kind of caught up in the moment. So what I see here is something that's really well organized, that real kind of sense of professionalism to it, where everything started this morning with the intro speeches and stuff. You could tell that there was an investment at the time and to create something, yeah? On the other hand, you could perhaps say, oh no, I don't want to be too disparaging for stuff that happens in Europe, but sometimes could be a little bit low key. Okay, for instance, you will have an event in a conference center or a place, but whereas it's the whole theater that goes into it, and that's this whole idea that we got here today. Look at where the main auditorium and everything else, you do create this element of theater. Maybe that's lacking from the European space because if we do look at this world of B2B, it can sometimes be a little bit too staid, formulaic, as it were. This is my first time, here as well, coming to even my first time to the US as well.
Wow.
You guys got Starbucks as well.
Yeah, we kind of started the thing.
So it is. But it's it's a great thing to be part of. There's just loads to learn as well. That's where it all comes together.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. And today you're moderating the performance and ROI tracker today. So what are some of the things you're looking forward to as kind of a closing thought?
I guess the thing I'm looking forward to is becoming this sponge. Rather than sticking to things that for instance, content strategy and areas around that, let's look at this idea now, particularly hosting the performance ROI side. It's kind of more the nitty gritty stuff. There's always this clouded thing at the moment of what ROI actually represents.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to being that sponge, soaking it up, taking all this back, and becoming this font of knowledge for those in England.
Yeah, you can share it with them.
Flying that flag.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining the show today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
There are so many marketing tools to choose from these days. More than 3,500 the last time we checked. If you're overwhelmed and confused, you're not alone. With so many options, marketers are having a difficult time trying to select which tools will meet their team's unique needs. So why did the top content marketing teams choose DVHQ? It's because of our unique focus. Let me explain. The typical content marketing process looks something like this. You start with a defined strategy, then you ideate and brainstorm with your team. Create a plan of attack, produce the content, optimize it, then publish and promote the content, and finally, review the analytics to see how your content performed. As you may know, most marketing software tools are built to support the back half of this process. There are countless CMS platforms, email marketing tools, marketing automation systems, social publishing tools, analytics suites, etc. The list goes on and on. But here's the thing. The back half of the process is not where companies are really struggling. What marketing teams are really struggling with is the upfront part of the process, the strategy, the ideation, planning, workflow, and collaboration during the content production process. Sound familiar? If you don't get your upfront strategy and planning right, the odds of consistently publishing great content is, not very good. So these upfront areas are where we focus 100%. We don't want to reinvent wheels or be a jack of all trades, master of none type of content marketing solution. DivvyHQ was on a mission to build a content marketing platform that makes it incredibly easy for you to plan and produce high quality content more efficiently. This approach then gives you the freedom to integrate and connect DivvyHQ to your preferred downstream tools. So, if you're looking for help with strategy, ideation, planning, and collaboration, then we're the solution for you.